Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. In the current video, God has guided me to talk about a broader perspective and maybe just mention like this a few actors which are involved in this current phase of bondage breaking, of spiritual path, and facing the new ascension phase and so on. And essentially, as you imagine, I lived here in 3D as everyone else, because sometimes I speak about spiritual fighting and it seems from outside like I somehow had a different kind of situation. No, I lived in 3D like everybody else. But I'm only sharing with you the information which seems to be relevant to your choices, not my whole story. This is not my purpose in what I do. Now, when we talk about spiritual path, we have to talk about, of course, relations, and I've been talking about this a lot, choosing your partner, but also it's about your career. It's an entire life. It's all you have been programmed to know. And that involves property, housing, food, a certain standard of living that you've been used with, and so on. And a certain type of life that you've been used with, which includes also how you spend your private time, what are the circles in which you spend your time, friendships, family, and so on. So it's a broad, very, very broad area, and basically talking about spiritual path and making decisions regarding your spiritual path affects all of this, right? So we will look now a little bit, and I will mention just briefly a number of actors involved in influencing this choice. Actors which maybe you haven't been paying attention to so far. So maybe at the end of this video, I would hope that you would have a clear picture, or at least a clear image of what could be the reality of the life you have led so far, right? Essentially, we said 3D was created, I already said, was created against 5D, to steal rights from 5D. As I said before, like a separatist movement, taking over a territory, sort of taking hostage the citizens choosing to live in that territory, and fighting for their sovereignty against the central government, which would be the 5D leadership, the divine realm, right? So they are trying to create their own reality in 3D, but they do that by stealing rights from 5D. That's the essence which I mentioned so far. Now, one parallel that I will make is that for this to become a little bit more applied, is when the creation of the nation states, when governments were formed and public service was formed and so on, essentially they took the rights from royalties, from royal houses, right? Which was the normal way of organizing statehood at that point in time, right? And they created the new nation state, totally different, with the blue colors, the white colors, and so on, totally different than what used to be. And even the royalties, which still remain in power at this point, they're only symbolic, but it's a totally different system of organizing the state, right? In doing so, a certain number of actors took active role in shaping up this 3D reality of nation state. This nation state, essentially, it is presumed to be organized based on meritocracy, professionalism, and public service, and not on royal rights, okay? So not based on what was believed to be royalty, namely divinely blessed to lead people and so on. The blue blood, basically, which were as they are called. Now, in this new organization, the governments particularly the Intel and the political parties took an active role in organizing the government, organizing the society, particularly in states which declare themselves as being democracies, where you talk about plurality and many political parties and so on. So these are the two institutions which played an important role in defining the leadership of the country and the division of power within that government, right? The intelligence and the political parties. These were the actors which played an active role. Now, on the other hand, these were involved and heavily and in a mutually influencing type of relation with Masonry and with secret cults, which basically are the matrix behind the curtains, unseen to the mass public. And this is a two-way street in which, up to a certain level, the Masonry and the secret cults influenced or dictated to the Intel and the political parties what to do, but at the same time, especially in okay, somebody is very upset with me saying this. All of a sudden, my throat chakra closed up. But particularly in recent decades, you have many Intel officers who penetrate Masonry and secret cults, particularly in order to find out information. Well, it's in the blood of an Intel officer to do all this, to penetrate any type of environment and try to control it or influence it. So to me, that I studied military studies and military decision making, it goes without saying. So they penetrated these organizations with the hope to understand them, to control them, to learn, to influence their decisions, to influence who's being named in which positions and so on. So it's a two-way street because both try to influence each other and to control each other. While the Masonry and the secret cults have done it openly, with entitlement feeling, the intelligence and the political parties have done it, more subtle, but with the same purpose, right? To what extent they were successful, that depends, and this from case to case. My personal take on this is that they had no clue in what they get themselves into, and I'm pretty sure that each and every single intelligence officer that penetrated this world, sooner or later, at least a few times, regretted deeply to get himself into it, because especially if you work undercover, clearly you cannot get out of it whenever you like it. Anyway, but the fact of the matter is that this happened. Then you have two more actors, which is the entertainment industry, which works a lot with symbolism and with role playing and so on. And they pose a lot of messages and influence the society heavily. And also it's the movies and the songs and the music and the entire entertainment industry. And they do this by creating alternative realities through symbolism and the role playing and so, but also through infusing their work, the movies, the songs, and so on, through with energy. And I gave the example of Prince, but also there's Michael Jackson, who has been fighting. I mean, if you look at Thriller, this is a description done by Michael Jackson to necromancy. It shows how necromancy is being used. Each of them have tried in different ways to carry on their fight, and I want to specify each of them, as I said in the videos which I made about each of them fought different type of forces and different type of energies, depending on whatever ancestors they had and whatever gifts they had, right? But entertainment industry is one of the important players in this, and also civil society, which is an alternative to the government and which essentially also works based on deals made with the other actors involved. Now, you could take a look, for example, at the one very famous case, which even to this day hasn't been solved, the death of Marilyn Monroe, the death of JFK, and the death of RFK. All of three are connected. The same players were involved in all three of them, and that is also intelligence, the mafia, Masonry, entertainment industry, is exactly the actors which I have been mentioning here. It is for a good reason that even today we don't have all the information regarding, even, in 3D, they didn't put up information about who killed JFK. And the one who is supposed to be guilty of killing RFK, it's really an embarrassment. That individual offered to take a polygraph test, and he was refused because the individual doesn't remember to be doing that. It's really so basically none of these cases were solved, right? And in these cases you had not only connections between the actors but also involvement of all of these actors which I have mentioned. So this is one example of how this come together in dramatic cases. I will say this, most of the cases of death, particularly in entertainment industries, are executions. Clearly, Michael and Prince were executions. They were murdered, they didn't die by themselves or by disease or by accident. They were planned murder, and particularly because they were just simply advancing too much, in spite of all the efforts and attacks that they were victims of. They still did so much spiritual work that they evolved spiritually at a very, very high ranking. And this bothered people, essentially. This bothered people, and they decided to execute them. That's the basic story. It's not even that, any of them was planning to come out with a secret story to tell the truth or something. No, but what they were doing, though, through their work, was creating literally energetic upgrades of ascension. Each of them individually, they were this strong, this powerful, and their work was this tremendously important. That they by themselves, only through their work, they created, and through their spiritual work, especially with fighting to gain their own rights over their own work, cleaning their music from all the energetic attachments created by Warner Brothers and others on them, and putting out music pure and clean, that those created energetic upgrades on global or on massive scale, essentially. And for this, they obviously evolved spiritually at very high ranking, which nobody could change. So then they decided to just execute them and take them out. So this is basically the broad picture against which you must make the decision of your spiritual path. You must make it. It's not that you can avoid it, but you have to take in consideration all of this. And I'm showing you all of this so you will understand, because I know the decisions are difficult and you are used with the status quo, but you must understand, when you choose to keep your career, your 3D career, you must understand that all of these actors have a hold on you. You will not be able to advance spiritually because they created bondages on you. And they will, this is what they do. They make sure through all means possible that you do not evolve. And you must keep this in mind, because I have seen in many circumstances, and I have been speaking with many individuals, particularly in the time when God was guiding me to do readings. I have been speaking with many individuals at that time who were planning to do spiritual elevation but keep their 9-to-5 job, or having issues with relocating, or different sort of situations like this. And I kept explaining, listen, once you start your spiritual evolution, and even if you don't start it, there is no way back. You don't get to decide this. There is one individual I remember that told me, I want my normal life back. And they explained to me, you're not going to get it. It's not happening. The ascension is going forward. like it or not, you're going to have to make a decision, and you live with those consequences. But the ascension is moving forward. There is no normal like it used to be. There will not be, even if you don't make a choice and you say stay put in the same place, still it's not going to be the same, because the ascension is moving forward. You must make a decision. It's better for you to make a decision than to wait for others to influence your reality, because you came here with a purpose. And I also say this so you will understand, most times you have all these actors involved in your life without even knowing. Even if you have the fake belief that you're just a usual person, nobody, none of these individuals would take interest in you. No, that's not true. It's just that you didn't identify who are they or who they sent into your life. All the gang stalking groups are respond to orders from these individuals. If you're attacked by a gang stalking group, please know that gang stalking group has endorsement from all of these actors, including the intelligence community, including the government, including the political parties, and so on. Those institutions actually, so all of those governmental institutions and political parties have been founded meaning physically created, and the budget for those institutions is foreseen from stealing your divine rights in material form. You're paying mortgage month to month, but they are taking your money in order to pay for their institutions, for their political parties, for their movies, for so and so. You must understand, this is the bondage. This is why you came here, to break it. So this is very important to understand. And I gave one example, a video, which I highly recommend you go back and watch it again now in correlation with this video. And namely, I think I entitled that the Gigolo Boy system, where these governmental institutions have individuals, employees, who actually are sent officially on official mandate to come and entertain relations, toxic relations, with men and women which have specific gifts and rights, just in order to claim them. Because once one of their people claim you, they take your rights, your divine rights, they speak in your name. And they take your divine rights of material abundance, of ranking, of positioning yourself in specific. They make different sacrifice rituals in their secret societies, and so on. This is not a joke. This is very serious. This is happening, and is not that something that God has shown to me. I discovered this reality before I started my conscious spiritual fighting. As I said in the other video, that individual who, the toxic relation which was forced upon me, I didn't accept it, was an individual, as I said, which was from Intell community, investigating officially a case of stolen identity, which happened December 2013, January 2014. Somebody stealing my identity, creating a fake page, and putting out in public information, secret information about diplomatic relations with other countries. And it was a stolen identity. Somebody was doing that in my name in order to create problems for me. But as I started talking with the individual, I realized that it was them, the Intell community, who created that. It was just a setup, basically, in order for them to create an opportunity to interact with me, to trauma bond me, because naturally I got very scared when I saw that. I was like, who the fuck has done this? Because this can have huge implications on my career. And this is, and articles about that, it was just a blog. And it was created in December 13, I think, and 2 weeks later, articles appeared in the whole world, in United States, in UK, in Iran, in Bulgaria, in some of the Western countries. So all of a sudden, the entire world was interested in a stupid blog created by some individual from Romania, which had my picture and my name. Now that I actually put out content for 4 years on my own, nobody writes articles in many countries about what I put out. But when it was created as a fake page by Intell community, all of a sudden articles appeared in 2 weeks from its creation everywhere. And I said in the previous video that the individual who came to interview me, who was investigating the case, I told him actually first time when he asked me out for a drinks, pretending that he has news about my case to tell me. I told him from the very beginning of the evening as we sat down and he started flirting with me. And I asked him, do you have an official mandate to do this? Did they send you to flirt with me? And he actually acknowledged, yes, that's true. And he was shocked that I realized that I understood what was going on. So we got into more discussions later on. And it was then actually when at some point he proposed to me to be in a relationship. So I said to him, look, I understand very well what is your mandate. I understand very well what you're confronting in your institution. I tell you that this is not right, that they use you like this. You guys should all stand up against it. You shouldn't accept to be used like this because it's against the law, first of all, and you shouldn't be using your personal life they shouldn't be interfering in your personal life to dictate to you what to do with whom and so on. So I told him, I will be willing to have a relation with you, but if you give up all this. And I told you at the time he had 100 women, he claimed. I learned a few months later, 100 women that he claimed, just one individual from the Intell. So you imagine through that how much control they seek to get into public institutions and in so many other. So you will meet this individual, he will play dumb and he will play to be in love with you, but he in fact is being paid to seduce you romantically, sexually if possible, to create a toxic relation with you in order to lower your vibration so you cannot take your ranking in spiritual ascension, because you cannot keep a high vibration while you deal with this kind of toxic trauma and so on. Yeah. So that individual was actually paid. And I told him, if you want a relationship with me, you come to me clean and I'll give you a relationship. But give up all this shit in your life if you want to do this. If you don't, then I'm not going to fucking do this shit of yours with open relations where you are meeting nobody knows how many women and for what purpose, and they pay you to do this like you'd be some prostitute in some sort of prostitution bordel. This is not possible that you do this. So if you want a chance to a clean life, then you have the chance of a relation with me. If not, that's your problem. It's your choice, but I'm not going to accept you to bring this shit in my life. It's not something that I imagine. It's something that I actually discussed with him, and he actually said it out loud, that they are being required to do this. And actually he told me stories of different individuals who were married and were requested to do this, and their wives came at the institution to make formal complaint that their spouse told them that they were requested by the Intell leadership to go fuck around different women, so this is real. This is the reality that you're facing. And please know that many of the individuals that you meet and you might think of having a relation on, or even the karmics that you think of taking back, very easily and most probably are some of these individuals who are requested and paid to entertain relations with different individuals only to claim them, to claim their rights, to keep them in a low vibration, to harvest energy from them in order for their institutions and for themselves, their employees, and the political parties that they are associated with, and the secret cults that they are associated with, and the Masonry that they are associated with, and so on, so on. All of that, it's an entire myriad of networks interconnected between them from different fields of life, and all of them feed on you. So I'm saying this so you will understand this is really serious. The decisions you're making are really, really serious. And at this point in time, the truth of the matter is there are chances that you do not know who's the man sitting in front of you. Even if he's your husband for many years, there are chances that you have no idea who you're talking to. Of course, I will not deny that there's also a human dimension to it. So I'm pretty sure that some of these individuals might fall in love truly with some of the victims, but that doesn't change anything. He will still harvest energy from you. He will still steal your rights. They will still do this because this is what they want to do. This is what they want to do. I gave you this example because I gave honest chance to that individual by at the time when I knew fully exactly what he's doing, and he knew I know, and still he didn't choose to come clean and to get out of this this world of promiscuity, basically, because there's no other way to call it. Each and everyone lives their own drama. I am pretty sure none of them is happy. I am pretty sure there is no happiness in this world. Simply because you cannot. While you do this, you simply cannot be happy. And karma, and besides that, karma will come back for you no matter what you do. Once you created something, I said this in other videos, once you created something, a type of action, thought, slander, injustice, in any kind, type, shape, that will come back to you. That's an energy which you created and is here hovering over all of us, over Earth, and especially over the person about which you created all this. And somebody, and it has, in order to be transmuted, somebody has to pay the price. That's the bottom line. Energy transmutation and energy work works only temporarily. I explained this. The true relief of darkness is when you break the bondage. Otherwise, it keeps coming back. So my advice is that everyone who's facing decisions, especially as we are now close to the karmic board meeting in June and a new phase of ascension, please think carefully. These are very serious matters. These are not just things to waste your time with, or just, these are serious matters that you should actually think very seriously. And indeed, we are in a time when you do not know who's the other individual. What you can do, you can ask divine guidance. And please know also that I don't advertise, some sort of crazy way of living. Some of these individuals you must encounter and you must break bondage with them, because this is why you came here in 3D, because of a bondage which that individual created. So you'll have to encounter them. But then when you make life decisions about that individual, make sure you don't confuse the bondage breaking with your own purpose and your own life which you're planning. Anyhow, this is basically what God has asked me to talk about. So I hope this helps someone to understand that although your own life might seem boring and uninteresting, please know that all of these actors have a hand in shaping your life. It will be boring. It will be boring only while you do not do spiritual fighting. I promise you, start doing the spiritual fighting, and you will see how all of these individuals and organizations will become anxious and will start attacking you and will start harming you and so on. Only then you will understand that they were always present in your life, but you never knew about their presence, or you thought they are something else than what they are in reality, you know. So these are actors which have a hand in everyone's life, one way or another, directly or indirectly. And this individual, the bondage we all have to break, is connected to these individuals, directly or indirectly through intermediaries. That depends from case to case. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here now. I hope I said everything that there was to be said. If you have any questions, as always, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments, and I will include the answer in the next video.